and a Cambridgeshire couple is trying to raise £500,000 to fund a potentially life-saving treatment. 32-year-old Verity has a very rare genetic condition called MNGIE. Her eldest sister Gail had the same disease and died from complications and pneumonia in Addenbrooke's last year. Gail was in her early 40s. Verity's other sister, Zilla, has also been diagnosed, so finding some kind of effective treatment would be a very big deal for this family. Verity and her husband, Josh, are both here. Good morning, Verity and Josh.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you. Is Verity there as well, Josh?
Yeah, she's right next to me. She says morning as well.
Hi, Verity. I wonder if, first of all, you can tell me a bit about this condition, because it is so unusual that lots of us have never heard of it before. What is it and what does it do to your body?
Right, so I'm the one taking the technical question. So it's a bit of a mouthful, the actual name. So it's mitochondrial neurogastrointestinal encephalomyopathy, or MNGIE for short. And it's obviously super rare mitochondrial disease that primarily affects the digestive system and causes gastrointestinal dysmotility, so fast speed of digestion and different sort of the muscles in the gut and that system don't work properly, and so it presents in a similar way to Crohn's. So the symptoms that we got certainly early on were lots of excruciating stomach cramps, vomiting, nausea, that kind of thing. And then as it progresses, it affects different parts of the body, like the eyes and the ears. But primarily, it's like Verity has a low BMI, and it's difficult for her to gain weight and that kind of thing.
And how did the diagnosis come about?
So we were told, we were getting in investigations as you would, and we were told 99.9% sure that it was Crohn's disease. And it was only a sort of chance diagnosis, because Verity was in hospital for she was being treated with steroids for the Crohn's, and then they put her on an immunosuppressant because the steroids weren't working. She had an allergic reaction to this, and then a slew of tests, and she had a brain scan which showed abnormalities. And they were like, okay, it could be this other thing. It's a very, very rare thing, but it turns out, unfortunately, that that's the case, and she had MNGIE.
And not only did you find out that Verity has MNGIE, but her sisters too.
Yeah, exactly. So leading on from this, her sisters were tested also, and then Gail was the next to be diagnosed. And then following on from that, her sister Zilla also was diagnosed.
Okay. And Verity, I'd like to ask you really how you feel every day. Does it impact your life and your well-being on a daily basis?
Absolutely, yeah. It's I'm incredibly weak, and I think that's the trickiest thing. Is things like obviously we've got a little boy, and things like I can't just pick him up and carry him to places, or I have to be like, "Don't come on walk with mummy," that kind of thing. I am still working full time, but at the minute, unfortunately, I've had like a little setback. So I've been in hospital in January with some other complications. So it does impact daily lives, and we have to always sort of think ahead. Like, is that how much standing is there going to be? How much walking is there going to be? Just because of how weak I am as a person.
Right, okay, so it has a pretty dramatic impact on your daily life, and really it's hard to overstate just how important this fundraiser is for you, because you've seen how MNGIE can end with your lovely sister. Tell me about Gail. What was she like? Oh,
she was, like, anyone who met her would have said, like, she was a one-in-a-kind person. She was fun, bubbly, eccentric. Her dress sense stood her out from a crowd. I'm sure anyone who went to Cambridge United in the Havin would have spotted her colourful appearance in the crowd. She was just great. She was there for me, and she was a bit like a mum figure in a way, because she was that much older.
Yeah, she was 10 years older than you, or thereabouts, was she?
Yeah.
And a big Cambridge United fan, I understand.
Yeah, we're all big Cambridge United fans on my side of the family. So they've been amazing sharing our Just Giving page, because obviously £500,000 is an awful lot of money for us to try and achieve on our own, but we have to try. So
Yeah, well, let's talk about what you're trying to get towards. There's no proven treatment for MNGIE. There's nothing available on the NHS, but there is this treatment that's approved for compassionate use. Josh, talk to me a bit about that.
Yeah, so the treatment's called enzyme replacement therapy, and the idea is, so it was actually used back in 2019 as a trial in this condition with like promising results. And what it does is it essentially it's like an infusion. So you use your own blood and then add a sort of encapsulate the enzyme that Verity's body doesn't have to clear a waste product, and then infuse it back into the body, and then that would be needed every 4 to 6 weeks to basically ensure that her body's performing the role that it can't do with this condition. And in theory, when Verity was pregnant with our son Noah, she felt much better. And the theory is that having him inside her was actually performing the job that her body couldn't, so clearing this waste product, and she actually felt much better.
Oh, wow. So Noah was kind of, I don't know, like sharing the legwork a bit. He was doing his bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How confident are you that this treatment would work?
It's promising results. So basically, the only thing with being offered on the NHS is either a full or partial bone marrow transplant. And this is done with a previous trial with patients with this condition, but they're albeit further down the line. But the results are like very grim to read. And you know, we have a 2-year-old son, and it's just too risky for us to take that now. This is why we're exploring a safer treatment, if you see what I mean. So, you know, we don't want to run the risk of, I think we'd be foolish to say, oh yeah, we'll do a bone marrow transplantation, and then complications go wrong. We lose Verity now, and then on the horizon, a permanent like gene therapy or stem cell transplant becomes available in a few years' time. And, you know, this enzyme replacement therapy isn't a permanent cure, but it buys us time.
Okay. £500,000. It's just such a huge amount, isn't it? How are you feeling about it, and how's it going?
Well, it's weird. There's no greater motivator for me, and I just have this, sort of unwavering optimism about it, and we're overwhelmed with the response so far. And yeah, the Just Giving page doesn't actually reflect the total that we're at. So we're actually at over 60,000 now in just over a week, because we had a very generous offline donation that we can't add to the ticker. But yes, it's an enormous amount of money, but the amount of people that have reached out wanting to help us and do their own individual fundraisers, and you know, we're on here, so contacting local media, national media, and spreading our word. Yeah, I'm positive that we can do this. I've seen this done for other people, and you know, I won't stop until it's done, really.
And Verity, what's it been like for you seeing the number just push up and up in the last week?
Oh, yeah, it's actually really emotional, because, you know, like some of the messages people have left, like the kindness of strangers. Yeah, just some of my past pupils, some of the parent messages they've sent. Yeah, just it's a bit overwhelming, really.
Yeah, I'm sure. I've just been doing some different searching online, and I think that the best way for people to find your fundraising page, Josh, is for people to search for Joshua Grainger, Grainger spelt GRAINGER, and MNGIE, MNGIE, unless you've got a super whizzy, clever way of getting people towards it, Josh.
No, I think if that's what you pulled up in a search, that's quite a short way to do it. And and we've got lots of social media, which is all at Crowdfund for V. So I think we've got Twitter set up now, and we've got people helping with this, because I'm not very good at that kind of thing. Facebook and Instagram, all this stuff. But yeah, I think that's probably a suitable way to get people to our page if they want to help us. And like you say, yeah, good for specifying the I in the Grainger, because often people call us Grainger. We always have to correct them. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, buddy, when it comes to hard to spell names, I am right up there. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I wish you all the very best. Please keep in touch, and I hope that you enjoy the FA Cup game this weekend, Verity. You feeling good about it?
Yeah, I think we can do it, definitely. We've got to be positive, haven't we?
That's the spirit. That's my girl. Verity there and her husband Josh. And just finally, the way to find their Just Giving page, if you can spare any pounds at all, you can hear how much it means to their whole family. You can find it by going on Just Giving, search for Josh Grainger, Grainger spelt with an I in there, and MNGIE spelt MNGIE.